How good will the Buffalo Bills defense be this upcoming NFL season? Last year in 2021, Buffalo had the best defense in the NFL. You look at Leslie Frazier. We keep asking ourselves, when is Eric Bieniemy going to get a head coaching opportunity? But every offseason, I'm always asking myself, when is Leslie Frazier finally going to get an opportunity to become an NFL head coach? Because he has been one of the best defensive coordinators in the league ever since he took over the DC job with the Bills. And the job that he's done with this defense over the last few years has been simply outstanding. And last year was kind of the epitome of it, because they were number one in multiple categories statistically on the defensive side of the football. So I think that it's only a matter of time before we see Leslie Frazier finally become an NFL head coach. Are the Bills going to be able to have the number one defense in the league for a second consecutive year? I don't know. I'm not saying the Bills defense is going to be bad. I still expect this to be a top 5 defense, top 10 at worst. However, it is kind of hard to maintain that number one defense year in and year out. Really hard to do. We have seen some defenses do it in the past, but it's extremely hard to do it back-to-back years. You don't see it that often. However, for the Buffalo Bills, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to pull it off. I'm really excited about the pass rushing group that the Bills have going into this season. You have Gregory Rousseau, who had a pretty good rookie year. As a matter of fact, he surprised many people, because remember what the narrative was about Gregory Rousseau when he got drafted last year coming out of Miami. He was more of a project player. He had to sit for a year, had to develop. Well, he ended up having a really good training camp, a really good preseason, and then when he got opportunities to make plays, he made them. He had 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, interception. I'm really excited about what Gregory Rousseau can do this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up having 8, 9 sacks this season. Then on top of that, you have AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham, but then you have Von Miller. Von Miller played a really critical part in helping the Rams win the Super Bowl last year. He was really big in their Super Bowl run. He had 9.5 sacks. And there were many people who saw his huge mega deal and they were saying, oh, the Bills overpaid. He's in his 30s. He could end up regressing at any moment. Here's the thing when it comes to Von Miller. Von Miller is a future Hall of Famer. Okay? And when you have a Hall of Fame caliber player, they tend to regress at a slower rate than your average NFL player. Take Tom Brady, for example. Tom Brady is 100 years old, and he's still amongst one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You look at Chandler Jones, he's in his 30s. He's still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. So when you have a Hall of Fame level player, you can't look at their age and just say, oh, they're going to regress because they're old. Because great players regress at a slower rate. They're not normal. It's a reason why they're Hall of Famers. Hall of Famers are some of the best players to ever play this game. So, of course, they're not going to have the average career as a normal NFL player. And when you look at Von Miller, I think that he could be the missing piece that the Buffalo Bills have needed to finally get over the hump. If you're looking for a player who can help you get off the field against Kansas City, this is it. I really think that Von Miller is the missing piece for the Buffalo Bills being able to finally get over that Super Bowl hurdle and getting into the championship game. You also had Ed Oliver, who arguably had the best year of his NFL career up to this point. You got Daquan Jones. Tremaine Edmonds is really interesting. And as a Steeler fan, I follow Terrell Edmonds, and he gets a good amount of criticism. But the Edmonds brothers are way better than what many people look at them. Because for Tremaine Edmonds, you have some people that'll say, oh, JT, he's average. He's not that great of a linebacker. I'll give you that. Okay? He's not one of the best linebackers in the game, but he's not awful. He's not a bust. He plays his role in the Bills defense perfectly. He does what is asked for him. However, you would love to see him take his game to that next level. You would like to see a Pro Bowl caliber performance out of him because you did spend a first round pick on him. But Tremaine Edmunds does what's needed. However, I think Matt Milano is the best linebacker on the Bills roster. 86 tackles last year, 15 tackles for loss, and 5 pass deflections. You look at somebody who can do it all. I think Matt Milano definitely is that kind of linebacker, and I think he's kind of underrated in a sense. Okay, we're not going to mention Matt Milano in the conversation of being one of the best linebackers in the game with guys such as Roquan Smith, Darius Leonard, you get what I'm saying, Fred Warner and whatnot. However, I do think that Matt Milano is quietly underrated, and I think you could probably consider him to be a top 10 linebacker. And it may be a little bit of a hot take to some people, but I think Matt Milano is really good. I don't think too many people recognize what he does and how important his role is in this Buffalo defense. You also, when you look at the cornerback position, you have Tre'Davious White, who tore his ACL in November. I believe it was on Thanksgiving. He was having a really good season. But despite his injury, the secondary still played phenomenally well. You lost Levi Wallace, who pretty much was your best corner during that span when Trey White was out. He's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, you're going to be replacing him with rookie corner Kaiir Elam, who was drafted in the first round of this past year's draft out of Florida. I think Kaiir Elam could potentially end up being an upgrade from Levi Wallace. And Elam was somebody who I was really high on before the college football season kicked off last year. Many people had him going right after Derek Stingley in the top 10. However, Florida's defense didn't play all that well. Kaiir Elam didn't have the kind of season that many people were expecting him to have, but he still was really good. And I think with him going to the Buffalo Bills, it was a really good fit for him. Then you have Taron Johnson, who quietly has emerged as one of the best slot receivers in the game. I don't know if you consider him to be top 5, top 3, but he's definitely in that conversation. The dude can do it all. You can blitz him off the edge. He's good in coverage. He's also a really good tackler. So for Taron Johnson, man, I think he's quietly underrated in his own right. At safety, we already know the Bills probably have the best safety tandem in the league, or one of the best. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, we know what they bring. They're one of the most consistent safety groups in the NFL. So when you look at this defense, man, this pass rush, I'm really excited for it. Because if Gregory Rousseau can end up giving you 8-9 sacks, we already know what Von Miller is going to do. It's going to be scary. Then you have some good rotational pieces. AJ Epinesa, I mean, hopefully he can end up coming around being somebody who can maybe give you 4 or 5 sacks. Boogie Basham, probably in that same category. But this is a Bills defense that I honestly think that with the loss of Levi Wallace, you're going to be replacing with Kaiir Elam. I think that's an upgrade. I think that Elam could be viewed as somebody who could be in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's how good I think he is. Because if the Bills are going to make it to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to need Elam to step up. And it's not as if they're asking him to be their number 1 corner. Okay, he's probably going to be their number 2 corner behind Tre'Davious White. So he's going to be matched up against the number 2s, maybe some number 3s, depending on the formation and the sets that the offenses come in. So there's not going to be immense pressure when you compare other cornerbacks who are drafted ahead of him, such as Derek Stingley and Sauce Gardner, who are going to be guarding the number 1s. Elam's probably going to be matched up against the number 2s, while Tre'Davious White takes over the number 1s. So I think for Kaiir Elam, he has a really good opportunity to be one of the best rookie cornerbacks, and I think he's going to be really good this year. But overall, this is a Buffalo Bills defense that, although I don't think they're going to have the best defense in the league this season, I do think they probably are going to be around top 5, top 10. I expect this defense to still be elite. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about the Buffalo Bills defense going into the 2022 NFL season down in the comment section down below.